All right, Algebra 1A students. Welcome to part 1 of lesson 2.6. In this section, we're going to be talking about converting some ratios, converting some rates, converting some units, doing a lot of conversions using ratios. Okay. Now, a ratio is a comparison of two numbers, compares two numbers, usually by division. We usually write ratios as fractions. Okay, so ratios and fractions for us in this section are going to mean the same thing. Ratios are always written as fractions. I don't want you using the colon, that's too confusing, and writing out the word 2 is too much work. So we're going to write ratios as fractions here, and really what it means is that for every A of something, you have B of something else. Okay, 5 chickens for every 2 dogs, something like that. Okay, to convert from one unit to another, like say from minutes to seconds or something like that, you multiply the original unit by what is called a conversion factor. Conversion factor is a ratio, which means we are going to write it as a fraction. And it's always equal to 1. Okay, it always has to be like the same amount on the top and the bottom. Like 1 foot means 12 inches, right? These two numbers right here are the same thing. So the top and the bottom of the fraction are actually the same thing, which is good because we're going to multiply by this and we don't want to change anything. So we have to multiply by something that's equal to 1, which as long as the thing on the top and the bottom of your ratio are the same amount, 1 foot, 12 inches, 1 minute, 60 seconds, so on, we should be good on that front. Now there's in the back of your book, there's a table on page 814 where you can find some units of measure, some converting factors, or there's also a bunch in your student planner. Some of these you should already know, I hope. Otherwise, use your student planner or page 814 in your textbook. Now, your practice problems are going to look something like this, where you are given a certain amount of something, and you're asked to convert it to a different unit. So in letter A, we're given 330 minutes. We're asked to convert that into hours. In order to convert this using a conversion factor or a conversion ratio, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write out 330 minutes, and I'm going to make this into a fraction just over a 1. Okay, just over a 1. Because we know putting something over 1 doesn't change it, but it does allow me to see this as a multiplication of fractions. And now I am going to multiply this by a conversion fraction. Okay, and the conversion fraction is somehow going to involve my two units, minutes and hours. The question is, how many minutes are in an hour, and where should each of those go? Well, hopefully we know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour, right? 60 minutes in 1 hour. Now the only question is, how do I make a ratio out of these? What's going to be the best for me? And it all depends on what unit I am trying to get rid of. Okay, I'm trying to get rid of the unit that's on my 330 right now. I want to get rid of minutes. Right now, minutes is on the top of my fraction, right? Because that's the way I wrote it, 330 minutes over 1. So if, or when, I should say, the unit that you're trying to get rid of is on the top, that same unit has to go on the bottom of your conversion fraction, because now, if we look at these two fractions, when we multiply them together, we can actually cancel out the minutes. Right, minutes and minutes. Minutes on the top and minutes on the bottom will cancel out, and we'll be left with a unit of hours. Hours here. Okay, so we do want to always cancel out the units. So if you're given something in minutes, put minutes on the bottom of the conversion fraction. Okay, and then in terms of numbers, we can just multiply straight across as we usually do with fractions. 330 times 1 over 1 times 60. What we end up with is 330 over 60. And what we would do is we would just do that division. Divide that maybe on a calculator if we have to. Probably on a calculator. And what we would end up with is 5.5 hours. Okay. So we would just do this division on a calculator, and the number that we get then is in hours because we canceled out the unit of minutes. Okay? So again, we started with what they gave us and then wrote a conversion fraction that allowed us to cancel out the unit they gave us in exchange for the one they wanted, and then just multiply the top and bottom and then divide. Okay? So let's try another one. Let's try turning 15 kilograms into grams. So again, I'm going to write out 15 kilograms first. I'm going to put it over 1. $15 kilograms over 1, and now I'm going to convert it into grams. Well, the question again for us is how many kilograms in a gram or grams in a kilogram? Using either your student planner or the table in the back of your book, we should find out that there are 1,000 grams in every 1 kilogram. Okay? Every 1 kilogram. Now, because I started with a unit in kilograms, I'm going to want to put kilograms on the bottom of my conversion fraction because I want kilograms to be canceled out. I don't want that unit there anymore, so because it started out on the top, I'm going to now put it on the bottom so that kilograms will cancel out and I'll be left with something in grams. Okay? So now, kilograms will cancel out, cancel. I'll be left with something in grams, and I can just multiply straight across. Again, whoops. I'm multiplying here because I'm multiplying by a conversion fraction, and I'm just going to multiply straight across the top and across the bottom. The good news here is the bottoms just end up being 1, so they don't even hardly matter, and the top ends up being 15,000 grams. Okay, so our final answer in letter B would be 15,000 grams over 1. Okay. So again, we're just writing what we have, setting up a conversion fraction, and then multiplying across the top and bottom and dividing if we have to. Okay? There's another option, another way that this could be seen. This one's a little bit trickier only because they give us feet and inches in the original and they want it all to be converted into inches. Okay? Now, the nice thing is, once we've converted the 5 feet into inches, all I have to do is add 3 more onto that, and I'll have the whole thing. So I'm really not concerned with the 3 inches. I'm just going to leave that over here, and I'll add that on in the end. But I'm going to set up a conversion for the 5 feet that I know need to get turned into inches. Okay, 5 feet, again, over 1. And I know that there are 12 inches in every 1 foot. Because I want to cancel out feet and turn this into inches, and feet is on the top now, I'm going to put it on the bottom of my conversion fraction. 12 inches will be on the top, and again I'll multiply across the top and bottom here. I'm canceling out the feet obviously, and I'll multiply across the top. I'll multiply across the bottom. Again, the bottom is just a 1. So it hardly even matters, but I will put it there. The top, 5 times 12 gives me 60, and my unit is now in inches. So it's 60 inches over 1, which obviously is just 60 inches. But remember, we do have to add this 3 inches in as well. Okay, that's the extra piece. So 60 inches and 3 more inches, well, total, then I have 63 inches. Okay, that would be my final answer, 63 inches. Here's one for you to try. I'd like you to try converting 1,250 centimeters into meters. All I will tell you here is that in 1 meter, there is 100 centimeters. Okay, in every 1 meter, there's 100 centimeters. So use these two, this conversion rate, I suppose you could say. Set up a converting fraction, cancel out the units that you don't want there anymore, and then decide what your new units, how many of your new units you have. So pause the video and try to tell me how many meters there are, 1,250 centimeters, and then come on back and I'll show you what we should get. All right, our final answer here should be 12.5 meters because we do 1,250 times 1 divided by 1 times 100. So 1,250 divided by 100 is 12.5. So that is our final answer. Hopefully you work that out for yourself on paper. You can show me that tomorrow with your notes. If you have questions about converting any of these rates or fractions or ratios, I should say, please make a note to ask me in class tomorrow. Otherwise, that's all I have for you. Have a wonderful night.